I think I'm gonna really sit down and appreciate all these metrics when I retire. I'll probably like when I'm old, I'll be like, Corey Jr. What? I had 1 million monthlies. That was a real big deal back in the day. That'll be me in like 20 years.
Hello, real ones. My name is Sydney, and today we are here with
Bathe.
Give us your names individually, please.
I'm Corey.
And Dev.
Corey and Dev, how was your show tonight? We're at Shuba's, and you guys brought the fucking house down, in my opinion. But how was that for you personally?
It was incredible. There's this weird dissociation that kind of happens on stage, and then you kind of don't realize how the show really landed with people until you get off, and they're like, holy shit, that was really lovely. Someone gave us a painting that they made for us before the show. If you read the back, it says, "What your band represents for me. Hope you enjoy," by Victoria Gonzalez.
Thank you, Victoria. Stay sexy. I remember you telling somebody in the audience, like, stop telling jokes. Like, I might spit my water out.
We're a pretty serious band, so
Yeah.
No jokes allowed.
no jokes.
I was scared, actually. I was like, I can't make any noise.
Can we hear some noise or a joke now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I always find it really interesting when a band is just a duo, So what do you think it takes to maintain a duo to be successful?
I think that it really helps to actually enjoy each other. I think when you are in a duo versus other configurations, there's no ability to be democratic because it's only two people. If there's three people, y'all can vote. 3 and up, y'all can vote. 2 people, you can't vote. It really sometimes turns into like one idea or another. And when you really like each other and enjoy each other, like this is my real life best friend. If we reach an impasse, we can just go play Super Smash Bros. Or get some good ramen, going out and just doing friend stuff. Eventually, like the path illuminates itself, whether that's a compromise or one of us flipping to the other person's idea. So I don't really know how people do it if they don't like each other or if they feel neutral about each other,
I totally agree. I think the most important part is knowing how to say sorry. We were in the car with Ty,
RTM,
and we were just arguing aggressively over some bullshit, which I've forgotten now, and making Ty completely uncomfortable while he's at the wheel, going 70 miles an hour. And after 20 minutes, all it really took was for me to fucking say I'm sorry, and for him to say I'm sorry back. I know that sounds simple, it sounds cliche, it sounds trite. A lot of niggas don't know how to say sorry.
Just trying to adopt a growth mindset. People can learn and grow over time, and shouldn't hold it against somebody for needing a little bit of time to grow, and you shouldn't hold it against yourself for not knowing everything all at once.
Did you guys even argue about the set list, what you were putting on the set list? Like, besides the current project, like, were you guys like, actually, I would like to play this. I'm going to be the one playing the instrument. I'm going to be the one singing.
I think in a duo, I guess in any band, but particularly a duo, it's good to try to frame certain arguments or decisions based on who is affected more and try to like prioritize the specific person. Like with a show, like set list, I think a lot about Devin having to sing and having to perform, go to all these emotional places and maintain his voice. For me, guitar is a little bit more of a neutral activity, like one that's not as like, I try to put a lot of emotion to it, but it's not as like draining. So I really wanted him to have priority in picking the songs he felt like he could perform the best. And there are other moments, nothing's coming to mind off the top of my head, but there are other moments where I feel like maybe my needs would be prioritized depending on what the situation is. I think it's really important, especially in duos, but in all bands, to not always make everything about you. So are there a few songs that I would love to play just from on a guitar level? Sure. But I know that the best show is a show where Dev is comfortable the whole time,
Yeah, and I think adding to that, because of the nature of being the person that's the most in front of the crowd, there is a world in which maybe Corey just doesn't get as much attention. So making sure that he has those moments where he can show off how fucking incredible he is on stage are really, really important. And so making sure that the set list has those moments is also something that I'm trying to be a lot more keenly aware of.
Your song Avalon, in my opinion, it's about finding an escape from your everyday, whether that's your own personal island or a person or whatever. What's you guys' personal paradise?
Objectively, my personal paradise is a communist world in which resources are shared equally. But I think for right now, climbing has been my little island. It's been my shelter from the storm. thinking about tour has made me exceptionally nervous. Waking up and going climbing every day before tour and even during tour has been keeping me like sane.
I would say my partner. I've been with my partner for 6 years. I think going on long walks. I'm just like a naturally competitive person. So whether it's like video games or like playing volleyball or something, I really lose myself in like games. Like I really love just devoting myself for, however long it lasts to like trying to do my best. So I find a lot of time that can be really restorative for me.
What's your island?
Sometimes my island is like being alone on my island, or finding other people being like, oh my God, I'm not stranded, So a happy medium. What are some crazy things that have happened so far on tour? I hear that Atlanta was a great place.
When we first got to Atlanta, we were in downtown Atlanta. Ty and this one right here wanted to go to Waffle House at like 1 a.m. You know that like general vibe of like lawlessness and like anything could happen, but like not in like a fun way, That's how it felt outside that Waffle House. So at first I was like, I don't know about Atlanta. But then we linked up. We have 2 great friends, Mitch, who helps manage us, and our other homie, KJ. We had like individual hang sessions with both of them, and they just showed us different pockets and corners of Atlanta that were just really wonderful. Ran into Boots Riley, ran into the homie Foggy Raw, ran into super talented homie of our Alex. Caribou was around there. We don't know Caribou, but Caribou hit us up. If you ever, dip into R&B, hit us. Shout out Caribou. Yeah, Atlanta was kind of like a fever dream. I'm excited to go back.
You have a lyric in the song, I believe, Field, where you say, I say the things that we feel.
You wait for me to say
You wait for me to say the things we feel. If you guys could think back to a time, maybe first love type shit, where you had to rip the Band-Aid off and be the first person to do it, what was that experience like?
I'm going to share an experience where it wasn't mutual. I'm sharing this one because it's such a formative experience for me. I went to musical theater high school, or performing arts high school. I studied musical theater, and my troupe went on a trip to like Canada. And you know how like musical theater kids get, like everyone's like involved in some way with someone else. But I had
Is that the
that's the thing, yo. Musical theater kids be fucking like sorry.
what?
Basically, there was like this person that I was super interested in, and we were on the bus together, and I was like, all my friends were around me, they were gassing me up, just like talk to her, and I was like, I can't do it right now. They were like, when we get to the hotel, call her on the phone and then confess your love to her. And I was like, that's a great idea. So we got to the hotel, I called her up, confessed my love to her in front of like her entire room, and she was just like, yeah, nah. And they actually assigned me to sit next to her on the whole ride home. So that was, my first shot that got swatted away. But you got to live through it once. You got to live through it once. Shout out to her.
So mine is with my current girlfriend, who I alluded to in a past answer. I'd gotten out of a pretty toxic relationship before being with her, and like really early on, we just had like a lot of natural chemistry. I don't know, she just felt really easy to talk to. It was like my first relationship with somebody who just like, I just didn't get tired of being around. And I remember really vividly, we were on the train, and I could tell that this relationship was serious, because generally speaking, my approach at the time to romance was just like not caring at all. Like I was like too cool for school, but I was like super nervous. Like whenever we were hanging out, I was like not used to being that nervous, like being on a date. And so we're on the train sitting next to each other, and I wanted to like put my arm around her, but every time I would go to do it, I would like get really nervous and freeze up. It's New York, so this guy on the train is like, bro, just do it. I finally just didn't put my arm around her. I didn't realize how many people in the train had been watching me, were like really invested. That we felt. So
Any advice on people who might be going through that? Not you though, because you
Oh, me.
I would say specifically for men and masked people, it's okay to err on the side of caution. You have to just be aware that when you're trying to express how you feel about someone, you could be putting them in an awkward situation if you're not assessing the situation correctly. So I would err on the side of caution. Like, I think it is good to be respectful of people's space and to not just assume things. So it's okay if you're going to take the lawn path, if you can be sure that the person is going to be comfortable the entire time. I think it'd be irresponsible for me to be like, just go for it. You know, sometimes you shouldn't just go for it. You know what I mean? So that's my advice.
With this current project, even the music videos that you guys put out, I'm like, this feels like summer. This feels like love, romance, you know. What do you want your audience and your listeners to take away from the world building that you've created, like lyrics and music videos included?
I think we called the project Inside Voices because we really wanted to like represent like all the mental states that like us as humans living in the 21st century like can sort of experience. And I think that those range from this feeling of elation from like young love, right, to how you feel after you've taken a cap of mushrooms and you're hanging out with your friends in the park and it feels like you can chat with more honesty than you've ever chatted with in your life. And then like on the other side, there's like the negative voices that are telling you like exactly what the hell you can't do and how fast you can't do it, and they're reminding you that you get sad when the weather changes. Like there are just like so many experiences that we want to sort of capture that maybe don't get like communicated through the medium of R&B as often as we'd like. So I don't know, I just think that like R&B is possible of transmitting so many feelings, and I think we want to be a part of like telling those stories.
Yeah, I'd say particularly for like people of color, specifically like Black folks out there, it's like we all have really like multifaceted and really layered experiences. And I think we're just speaking to that like as best as we can. And hopefully if you resonate with one song or all the songs or some of the songs, like it just helps you honor that feeling. You know how when you find out a word that describes a feeling you've had, it feels like it honors it? I feel like doubly so when you have a song that you feel like honors an experience that you had. So that's kind of the goal, you know, make people feel like their feelings are being acknowledged.
And for Inside Voices Side B, what can we expect?
We actually just got the video treatments that we're doing for it. They're crazy. We're working with this group in New York called the 90 Degree Collective. Our friends Kane and Godfred, super talented. And I think that you can expect a cinematic world that is even like elevated above the stuff we've been doing. I think it feels really seamless. I think as soon as you see the visuals, you'll like get the vibe, but it is a bit headier, a bit darker. I think a little bit more experimental. I mean, we played one of the songs tonight that pulls from like singer-songwriter vibes, you know, UK garage vibes, a little bit of shoegaze vibes, synth pop vibes. So I think it's a little bit of a genre free for all. Of course, under this banner of R&B music, I think it's a bit more kaleidoscopic, I would say.
And you guys recently had your first headlining show in 2 years in New York. How was that versus like maybe the first show you ever did or headline?
Headline shows always feel like home, right? Because I mean, it's like the home team. It always feels like there's going to be someone in the crowd there to support you. But it really does make a difference when there's like 10 people in the front row that know all the words versus like 90 people out of the, you know, 200 cap room that know every single word and that are with you in every single moment. So seeing the growth in our support in New York specifically has been such a beautiful, beautiful feeling. And I don't know, I'm just kind of honored that we were able to like have that kind of experience together. Like, I don't know, dude, some people just never get to feel that.
New York really just be going crazy, you feel me? Like niggas from our barbershop pull up, like just like the homies. I had like cousins, everybody was all in there, you know. Playing in New York is just like, I guess like you said it pretty well, like a home team game. So it was super fun. That mosh pit was crazy. I'm like, dude, like most of our music is like 70 BPM. How are we moshing? Yeah, I mean, but hey, yeah.
What are you guys' personal favorites on your set list?
I would say that my favorite song to play is Bad News. It's also the last song that we played, or sorry, the last song that we made. And I tend to have a crazy recency bias around like music we've created. So it doesn't surprise me that one's the one that stands out.
I remember earlier when we were talking about like how we make concessions for each other because we love each other. Bad News is my least favorite song to play on stage, but that's his favorite, you know, and that's how we move. And I think my favorite song to play on stage is maybe Here, because it has like that mosh pit moment. And I don't know if that's Corey's favorite song at all, but
I don't think there's any real songs in this that I don't enjoy playing. Yeah. I think I just tend to like whatever the last song we worked on is. I think it's the best in my mind. So that'll be my favorite until we make some more stuff.
Bad news. There's that, but what's some good news you guys have received recently?
We recently hit 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Which, like, it's a vanity metric, but you know what? Fuck it. Like, we worked our asses off. We had a lot of people tell us, like I said on stage, like, we had a lot of people tell us what we couldn't do. To be here and to, like, have that, as an accomplishment, I think is, like, a monument to our perseverance. And I think if there's anything that Bathe is, it's a perseverant ass musical act. So
I heard that Boots Riley is making a new show with Lakeith Stanfield. I love that nigga Lakeith. I'll watch anything that man is in. So I'm excited for that. That's probably at the top of my list.
And are you guys gonna celebrate your million?
I appreciate it as a metric of how far we've come. I think the best celebration for me is like to get back in the studio and keep creating. I'm gonna celebrate this tour. That feels like a real accomplishment, but I feel I'm always a little bit reticent to get too caught up in numbers because it can be very easily here today, gone tomorrow. And then like, if you feel like, oh, I have to celebrate it when the numbers are up, does that mean you have to lament when the numbers are down? Like, I really appreciate it. There was a time when I couldn't fathom being at this position, but I think I'm gonna really sit down and appreciate all these metrics when I retire, probably like when I'm old. I'll be like, Corey Jr., I had 1 million monthlies. That was a real big deal back in the day, like that'll be me in like 20 years.
I haven't had alcohol in a month. I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to get fucked up. It's going to be great.
What are you guys waiting for when you get back home from tour? Because I know tours can be strenuous. It's like, I miss my bed, I miss my people, I miss my city, my regular everyday. What are you most looking forward to when you get back home?
There's a vegan Jamaican spot in Bushwick. I want to get me a little jerk plantain patty, a little codfish patty, and I can't wait to be in my bed. Natural Blend, Brooklyn. There are 2 locations, one in Bed-Stuy, one in Crown Heights. Take your pick.
But come early because they run out of them patties so fast and because they're so delicious. The main things I'm looking forward to are 3 things. Number 1, I'm looking forward to getting back in the studio because that is where I belong. And number 2, I'm going to buy a PS5. And number 3 is spending time with my girlfriend because she's wonderful and amazing, and she was so patient and wonderful when I was not answering that many texts because my phone is always on Do Not Disturb. We're gonna like go upstate, I think, get a little Airbnb action, so that'll be fun. I was told I can't bring the PS5, but you gotta concession compromise, as we spoke about earlier.
My girlfriend and I are also going. We're also going on a trip. We're going to South America, and I'm super excited for it. Actually, I am.
Have you ever been outside of the country before, either of you? What's your favorite country?
I've been to Lisbon quite a bit in Portugal. It's kind of my favorite place in the world outside of like New York, I guess.
I haven't been outside of the country as much as him. I've been to like Germany, I've been to Canada, I've been to Jamaica, which is wonderful. That was like a homecoming because I'm Jamaican.
Bumbleclot, yeah.
Hey, I think
Bumbleclot.
I think my favorite country is still the U.S. of A. because that's where all my niggas are. So.
And besides each other, who is a real one in your corner?
My mom, huge supporter, always has been. My sister Simone, my girlfriend Danielle, but also our homie Ivy Soul, who we made music with for a long time. Ethan, our manager, so many folks.
Ethan motherfucking Tomas, our manager, made all this possible. I mean, this dude found us when we had only put out 1 song, and he's been along for the entire ride. Complete godsend, genius, like the best manager you could ever have. Knows when to intervene and be a third vote, and knows when to like back off and let us figure stuff out. And we could do any of this stuff without him. I would say him, and I would say all of y'all who are even watching this, taking the time.
I am very curious about one thing. You guys went to college together, right?
This is correct.
How did you know that like you two were the one for each other?
You don't, and we didn't. You get to a point where like the music is just kind of undeniable, and you're just like, oh wow. Like for me, it was pretty funny because I always wanted to be a solo artist. If you can't deduce from my voice, it wasn't in the cards for me to be singing like this man, So he had a project and I had a project, and we were kind of like helping each other out with our projects, and they kind of just morphed into one. And he was already my best friend, but in terms of being like lifelong musical partners, you kind of get to a point where you feel like the best way for you to serve the music is to just continue working with who you're working with. And one day you just look up and boom, you're a real one.
Was there ever anybody else in those jam sessions with you guys where you were like, man, get this nigga out the room. Like, it should just be us.
I don't really think so. I think that like we were lucky enough to be surrounded by like selected creative community at Penn. It was a bunch of people that we respected and that we loved. And so like everyone that lived with us and that like created with us, we like fucked with heavily. Like I said, our friend Ivy, we were actually all in a group together first before Corey and I made Bathe. And so, yeah, I think it was kind of the exact opposite, where it was like there were so many other paths that this could have taken. And it just so happened that we were the last one standing at the end of the day.
Divine intervention.
Divine intervention.
So you kind of alluded to this earlier, and I kind of have a tradition of asking this to artists who do this, but what are your thoughts on Karl Marx?
I think that there is a habit, especially in the Western world, when we're talking about like communism or socialism in any shade, to think that it originated with the esteemed Karl Marx. Insofar as he like created like a conceptual scaffold, like a structure for us to think about like what it would be like to live in a communal society with equal resource exchange. People of color and like indigenous folks have been like living communally for so long. Like those principles existed and predated Karl Marx. So I think that like he's a valuable figure because like, to be quite honest, sometimes white people don't listen to people unless they're white, right? Like those theories aren't worth listening to. But I think that like he's an important figure for a Western tradition of like, you know, what a communal world could look like. But there are so many other figures that we haven't tapped into that have existed for so long that people of color should probably call back to a bit more when we're discussing that. So sorry, I don't know if that was too much.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do all that. I was bugging.
No, stand on that.
Okay.
Who are some artists that you guys really fuck with? And like, what's your playlist looking like lately?
Brandon from California just put out a phenomenal EP. It's very good. Orion Sun, so good. Chris Patrick, Tyrell put us on, super good. Leon Thomas, I mean, I feel like it goes without saying. Great project. Ivy, we have a homie Lee Clark from Philly who put out a phenomenal project. Homie Kingsley Ebenechi has great projects. I'm like, why are people not listening as much as they should be or not talking about it? So stop what you're doing and go look him up. And yeah.
I love Merges. I'm a huge Merges fan. Super into Alex Bannon. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Alex Bannon goes so crazy. You've been putting me on to Greek. I'm not gonna lie, I was in the hotel listening by myself. I was like, oh shit. He's so dope. I don't want to say McGee because, you know, I've been listening to a lot of McGee. A lot, like a ridiculous amount of McGee. Flanafi is really incredible as well.
I know you guys are on tour with Black Hibiscus. Like, do you have any favorites from any of his projects? You know?
Wanna be your girl, just wanna be your lover. That shit is a hit. That shit is a hit. It's giving me like Blood Orange vibes, you feel me? Yeah, he's so good.
I've just enjoyed experiencing his live performance so much. I still haven't really sat down and listened to all the records yet, but I'm really on that crowd every night. It's been crazy getting to watch him over and over and over again. I'm just excited to see where he goes from here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We love you. Thank you so much, Real Ones, for sitting here with this wonderful duo. Be safe.
Be safe. Karl Marx is around the corner.